All right, we are live. Bart is taking a quick break. I will do the same next. We'll give everybody a few minutes to trickle in. I also need to post this link to a couple of people. No one is in yet. Just give me a few minutes to get situated. Here comes somebody.
Hey, you took us live already.
Yeah. I told him you was taking a break. I was going to do the same next.
Taking a quig.
We've only got one person in here right now, so we're going to just give them
impromptu that we're doing.
This is just Patreon, so it's posted on the Patreon page.
Got it.
And I just pulled up the chat.
They're getting a great picture.
Let me close out what I want to do, though. We do have one or two mega fans that like to just get an email.
Oh.
So I was going to send one here.
I'm doing a little calisthenics here, a little stretching before the show.
And then I've got to go take a break. Hold on. Yep. And that was a good time with Tomatin.
That was great. We've been sitting for a while.
Those, honestly, 5 phenomenal samples.
Good. Very, very good. The one thing I'll say is you can see why they're up and coming.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a great stable of bottles and flavor profiles.
Okay, 2 people are in here with us.
It's like watching an exercise
nobody's commenting yet.
They will soon. I'm working the hips, baby. Working the hips. Ooh, I should do a shirt change. I brought a different shirt. Hold on. Where did I put it? It's over here.
All right, we have some crackers still. We're out of cheese, and we don't have a whiskey, though. I know you might have had it since you were driving.
Yes, I'll probably sip water and just have it.
As soon as Bart gets his shirt changed here, 4 people are in with us.
Because I was trying to sip a little light anyway for the show.
And I'm going to go take my break real quick and let Bart come in.
I'm coming in. Coming in. Boom, we got a swap coming on over there. Woo! Oh, that Tomatin show was phenomenal. It was very, very good. I'm going to have a few bit more of these crackers as we go. Scott will be back momentarily. What do we got here? Oh, yeah, Whiskey Woof. Great show with Tomatin. I agree. I love remoting in with those guys. They always bring it. I'm going to call it right now. I think Tomatin over the next 5 and 10 years is going to continue this growth that they're doing. And they're going to get more and more and more talked about. And I predict great things for Tomatin. So, I mean, and they're so open. I mean, a lot of the distilleries are open and friendly, but right from the get-go, you know, we're the Scotch test dummies. I think we'd been on about a year. We weren't well known. We weren't well known at all. And we'd reach out blindly. And right off the bat, there's Tomatin saying, you bet. Yeah. You know, we'll have, it was Scott and Scott come on the show, remote in. And the beauty we find with the show is when we're able to do things exactly like what you just saw. You know, the technology's there that we're able to be in Wichita, Kansas. They're able to be up in the Highlands and right from their distillery go live and give us that little barrel room that you'll be able to visit and fill your own barrel. To me, that's magic. Half the time I got to pinch myself and say, I can't believe, you know, we're able to do it with such clarity and connection. And to really, you know, complete the circle, so to say. Let's see what we got here. Brian Brennecke, hey, Scott and Bart, stretching out myself. Thank you. Yeah. When you're sitting for about an hour and a half, at least me and my long legs, I got to get up and stretch it out. Aquavite, hello, boys. A bit more relaxed. You bet. This is just for the Patreon fans. You got in?
Yep.
Scott's coming around the backside here. Yeah, just having Patreon fans in here is nice. Your thoughts on Tomatin? I was just saying Tomatin from the get-go was
when we scheduled Tomatin, and I said, since we're going to be together, let's just come up with a Patreon live real quick. Mm-hmm. We did a Patreon only post in Austin,
right,
of us with Roy enjoying General, Compass Boxes General, and the BTAC 2015 Stag.
Right.
We weren't live, though, so we weren't able to take comments, questions.
Right.
What I wanted to do, though, and I brought it to Bart, I said, hey, let's just go and thank them, because our Patreon funds and what you guys are helping out with allowed us to go to Austin.
Right.
I mean, that's what allowed us to travel down there, pay for gas, pay for food. They put, Rex and Daniel paid for our hotel, but it was on us to get down there.
Right.
Next weekend, next Saturday, we're going to go to Kansas City.
Yep. The Kilt Walk.
Simon Brooking actually reached out to us and said, hey, would you guys like to come up kind of for a private tasting? You guys can record it, do your normal thing there, and then stay for the Kilt Walk at night. So we had to get a motel room there. And again, because of Patreon funds, we're able to do it.
Sure. Yep. We're able to do it.
Well, we would probably be able to do it, but because of the Patreon funds, it's not coming out of our pocket. We're not taking.
Well, needless to say, the spouse doesn't say, where are you getting all this money from?
Right.
You know, I'm able to tell her, hey, this is actually from our supporters. We wanted to be safe. The Kilt Walk, it's like a pub crawl, or the Kilt Crawl, they're calling it. There's 4 different pubs. We're actually going to be gifted some kilts. We're going to wear these kilts around. And then Scott and I both talked. Kansas City's about 2.5 hours away. And we said, you know what? We're going to be having a few drams. We've got the funds from Patreon. Let's just stay in Kansas City, spend the night in a hotel room, and be safe about it. So
I'm just going to pour you on just a taste of the Tomatin. This was, so again, we used our Patreon funds. The final hour of the 12 hours of boom, we bought this Tomatin 36-year-old, one of the most reasonable 36-year-olds you can buy.
Yes.
And so we'll close out our Tomatin show with a little Tomatin 36.
Good call. So,
and it's not the high ABV that the other one. Roy, you are in for some treats with those samples.
Oh my, yeah. I'm telling you.
Those are 5 good whiskeys.
Work out some kind of show with them. I'm not saying it's got to be live, but if you even did a couple live things or maybe in person, they talked about meeting you in person in Edinburgh. I think you're going to really enjoy these.
The only thing I would swap out, do the bourbon, do the ex-bourbon,
finish with the PX,
do the virgin, then do the Oloroso, and then the PX,
and then finish,
and then the 27-year bourbon.
Okay,
yeah. The
PX was so flavorful.
I really think it was that extra 4 or 5 years of aging.
I think you're right.
Yeah, even though it was only PX finished, even though it was 6 years of PX finishing, just those extra, because the Oloroso was 11 or 12 years old. That PX was just.
I'm reading. Whiskey Wolf says, knows how I said wolf. He says, Bart, I'm drinking your quote wheelhouse tonight. Ardbeg Grooves and Laga 12. You are a genius. And he fist bumped me. So virtual fist bump back, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Aquavite, I couldn't bring myself to bust open such a nice wee box. I agree. Well, if you're able, do some video with one of the Scott when you meet him. See if they'll, if you want to, Roy. See, I'm sure they would come on as well. Now we kept one. We still have one intact sample box. So I don't know, Roy. Did you notice that those other bottles were underneath? We did not. No, until Scott pulled them out live on the show, and I was like, "What?" Here, yeah, put it back there. Display. With the Tomatins, and you know what? It's a no-brainer. I guarantee they're going to end up offering those for sale. I don't know. I don't know what I think that's something they like to. I think they like to keep those as the visitor exclusive to the visitor center. Maybe so. Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. I think you'll be able to buy it at the visitor center. Oh, just the sample pack. The sample. Yes. Okay. And I know there's some. I just had little bottles. I just had a flashback to that new make spirit. Yeah. I'm not a new make spirit fan. I love the new make. So you're okay with me taking that home? Yeah. Beautiful. Put it there with the other new makes. New make. I'm really digging new make. I don't know. I lean toward the young. In a legal sort of way. So wow. The 36 is definitely rich. Boy, that carries on. You can tell the age of that. Yep. A lot of the lighter sherry notes though, because it's just a sherry finish. Or the rose petal. Right. Toon Van Rouge says, great trip you had. Just back from my own road trip in the U.S. What? Having seen 9 states. Toon, what states were you in? Probably nowhere near Kansas. If you were, we would have met up with you. I'm curious where. What else do we have here?
What do we have that we're well,
Brian, I turned the spouse into a whiskey enthusiast to avoid that question of where the funds go to. Smart man.
Yeah. Oh, Brian. Hey, thanks for the samples too. We got those right back there. In fact, I was talking to Bill Whiskey Dick last night, and he brought up the idea of us doing a live stream with him and hitting some of those samples that you gave us, because we both had the same samples. So that could be coming up.
There you go.
Sometime.
Sure.
I don't know how soon. Okay. So I'm just going to hit Bart with this question. In Texas, I really liked, and I think you did, I know you did, the Iron Root.
Yes.
And actually, we kind of befriended Robert and Jonathan both. More Robert. Robert actually come up to our room, hung out, drank some whiskey.
Yeah.
They want to do some live streaming with us, and they've offered to get us some of their whiskeys. Right. You bought one.
I did.
The standard bourbon release.
Right.
I brought up to Bart, I said, why don't we trip down to Texas and do maybe we can get a tour of their distillery, talk to them, do all that. Our own traveling dummy segment. Right. And you said December or January.
Right.
That seems like a long ways away.
Boy, I'm about tripped out. and we're going to Kansas City this weekend, and then we're basically going to we've got to really start getting ready for our own show, October 19th and 20th. I got to be fair to my wife as well. I do have 2 sons that are 9 and 12 and 11.
Yeah.
I know. But, when I'm gone all the time and, I'm spending, part of it.
Yeah, you're talking a day trip.
Yeah, but it's 5 hours down, 5 hours back. We're going to be shooting and filming down there, and then sampling probably even a little bit. I don't know. I mean, that's 10 hours just in travel time, and then if you want to get film time in,
it'd be a long. If we did it one day, it'd be a long day.
I think safety-wise, it'd probably be better to spend the night there as well. But just my thoughts. I definitely want to get them on a live show. What do you want me to do? I'm not understanding. Wow, you touched my nipple. What is that? That's gonna go down. People love that. People are like, I love the tapping. Roy, what were you thinking when you were filming? Were you like, what the hell's Bart doing? Has to be.
We could probably bring Roy in for a couple minutes if he's set up.
I was just going off script there.
Just talk about Austin and about Bart tapping me.
Right. So let's see here. We got Toon starting in D.C., then Virginia, then PA, and then what is that, Delaware? What is DL? I don't know. PA?
Driver's license?
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, DL.
Let's see.
I think I'm kind of plugged up. I'm not picking up the malted barley from Tomatin at all. Just in this.
Oh, I couldn't get it there either. But the barley seeds will lose that smell really quick. Although being bottled, I thought it'd be preserved.
The peated ones did.
Right.
The peated malted barley.
Aquavite, don't know about you fellas, but I'm having a Texas withdrawals. Yeah, it was pretty cool down there. I wish we could all hang out. We could all hang out at Scott's pool. Toon says Maryland, New York, and all of the New England states and Ontario, Canada. Very good. Yeah, you were far away from us.
Yeah.
Aquavite, I got the same here. Bart, family first. Scott's done his rearing. Scott's done his rearing. Brian Brennicky, I was surprised at how good almost all of the Texas distilleries were. I agree. Iron Root, was good stuff. We're going to give you a little, guys, a tip here too. We believe that Iron Root is very close to I Am Groot. I Am Groot, and we may play on that when we do review the Iron Root bottle that I bought. Iron Root. Looking forward to, let's see, Brian's looking forward to his next trip in Dallas. He's going to pick up some more bottles. Aquavitae's at Whiskey Wolf. Just conversation between them. Aquavitae says if he's going to come on, he better go fix his hair. Just put on a hat. That's what I do. I just put on a hat.
He doesn't have much hair left.
I don't have much hair left either. It's retreating. It's like the French. Oh, that was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. We are just with Patreon fans. Ebhead, I need to see the dummies in Scotland. We would love to come to Scotland. It's really our day jobs, quite honestly, family and responsibilities.
You keep talking about it.
What?
You keep bringing it up that we're going.
We will.
We will.
That's a guarantee.
It's just when is really the question.
Right.
So we would love to.
Oh.
We know it's in the cards.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's a matter of when. We've got our passports ready to go.
I think actually you were telling people like in 2017 we were going.
No.
Like, oh yeah, it's going to happen this year. We're going next year.
Well, what we wanted to do is work in the Bourbon Trail tour first. Work with local fans here. Get more of our skills down with the microphone stuff, so there's not a lot of this going on, or maybe that's required from now on. That'll probably be in every live thing we do. This, quite honestly, was our first traveling gig, and I thought we did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
We went live. I loved how you were grabbing the fans and just pulling them on, making them part of the show. We're going to do that in October when we do our live show. We've even had Kevin.
I meant to talk about that
probably
at the beginning with Matt in just about October to get that out on the live stream, and then I completely forgot.
Kevin got a hold of me, I think, via Patreon, and I can't remember. Maybe it was an email saying, "Guys, tell me when and where your live show is going to be." I think he loved that whiskey gathering in Austin so much he wants to do it again, and I think that's something. Obviously, we planned ours months ago. But it was so fun hanging out with whiskey-minded folk.
Brian says he wishes him and Tammy could come to Kansas, but have family commitments.
Oh,
Tammy, they're the ones we interviewed towards the end of our video, and Tammy yells out, "Tested!
Tested!" Yeah, she literally ends the show. She was beautiful with that. You know what? I think Brian says he has family commitments, but I think he may be wanted in Kansas.
Yeah.
He can't come into this town. There's some kind of cattle rustling incident or something. Just kidding. Family first. We always say that, family first. So, and we're hopeful that it's going to be successful enough that this will be something that we continue. And quite honestly, Kansas is usually really great in October anyway. So if we're able to have this thing continue, we talked about something. There's a media person that's talked to us kind of that I've known on a little bit, but there's part of me that says, I don't care if we only have 50 people show up or 60 people show up. I would rather that than a bunch of people like, who are you? Who are you? I saw something in the paper. I'd almost rather it be that gathering of friends thing rather than I'm here for some free whiskey. I don't know. I know we're live here with our Patreon fans.
It's not free though. We're charging. Nobody would show up.
Sure, it is charging, but I'm here for, right. So minus the free whiskey, but I don't know. I just kind of want people that are maybe selfishly that are into the show and us rather than just, it's a whiskey thing. I don't know. I mean, this is the first you're hearing of it. We're in front of the Patreon family, but I mean, I was thinking, we're going to release it to some of our coworkers because some of them have said they want to come in. We haven't done that yet because we want to get as many spots filled by our heavy fans first. But we'll probably have a few coworkers that want to join in. I think I've had 3 or 4 talk to me about it, so it's no major amount. We might get 10. That was my only thought, that is, if it went out like in the media, we'd fill some seats, but it would be people like, who are these guys? Who's that tall, good looking fella?
That's what they just saying.
Yeah, that's it.
What's up, Roy?
That's what would be happening. Roy's in. Boom, boom.
Hello, boys.
I said, tall, good-looking fella, and boom, Roy's in. I think that's who I was talking to.
How are you doing? Okay.
Good.
Yep.
You?
Brian says we don't speak of outstanding warrants, especially for cattle rustling. He says, shh.
So you didn't? I didn't know if you'd be opening up your samples
and it's late.
Along with us.
No. Actually, when you suggested I come on here, I ran downstairs and I grabbed these just to show you that they were still here and intact. But yeah, I'd opened them up when they first arrived, so I knew that the little bottle of barley and new make and things were underneath.
Genius.
And some of these look really tempting, right? And then seeing you guys taste them tonight, I thought maybe I should sip along. But it's such a nice little box that I didn't want to just kind of sit here and kind of sip it and mow. And I think it's a really good box to share, right? Like you guys did tonight.
It is definitely, and I sure hope they offer that for purchase when you do distillery tours, because it's a nice sample kit.
I was surprised they weren't available. That's really kind of their press kit that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised that those weren't available.
I think those will be soon. It's a great little addition, because if we picked one like we did, the PX, I would still want to buy another sample of everything, just so I could reminisce.
They were all outstanding.
Yes.
Well, what was interesting tonight to see you sipping that new make and seeing you really purr like kittens over sipping new make, and it's one of those really cool things that you do, is that obviously it doesn't taste exactly the same, but new make can be delicious, right? Yeah. And one of the coolest things you can do is taste new make against kind of an aged product, and then just understand completely what the cask is adding,
Exactly. I'm learning so much with new make.
I tell you what, boys, I'm missing you guys. I edited that video this weekend. I kind of shot the camera thing on Friday night, my talking head to camera, and I edited it today and released it this afternoon. I felt like it was one of those timeline things. You guys got ahead of me. You got your video out quicker than I did. And I felt like I had to get out there. And as I was editing it, I had great fun. There's a lot of footage that I took that, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but so much of it is you guys just larking around. And
I need to get somebody to help me out, because I said, send me the pictures that you took, and he had like 11 from the whole
I thought that was a lot. I will tell you this. My wife's always snapping pictures, and I'm usually into the moment rather than the framing of the moment. I would say that I took a lot away from the moment. The picking you up at the airport, and then you're filming, we're filming, and then the hugging and everything. I'm just telling you, people can tell it's genuine. The ability to reach around the globe and build a connection is amazing to me.
Yeah. That is, and we talked about it, and you saw the theme of maybe even I doubt you've had a chance to look at my video, but the entire theme of the video was that idea that technology is shrinking us, and we get to know each other. It kind of softens that strangeness, right? So that when we meet up, there's a familiarity there. We already feel like we know each other. So there's a lot of things that don't have to be said. There's no introductions. There's no getting comfortable with each other. We kind of know what the gig is already, and we can just kind of pick up almost like old friends.
Oh yeah, we picked you up, and within 5 minutes, you and Scott both had your shirts off, just hanging out in the heat. Just kidding.
No, that was you after your porta potty incident.
That is true. The porta potty was an experience, baby. You use a porta potty in 110-degree heat, you're going to have an experience.
Yeah.
Scott's physically distanced himself from me.
Well, you're back on you're getting on my half of the king size bed.
Being right in the middle of the camera.
I had to.
Whiskey Wolf was asking earlier if I'd managed to pick up any souvenirs to bring home. And to be honest with you, Rolf, it would have been difficult not to, because these guys are serial whiskey shoppers.
Yes.
They had every single liquor store in the vicinity mapped out and in Google Maps, and we hit them up. And I have to say, the selection, I don't know if it's like that in Kansas, but
not quite that good.
Not in Wichita, anyway. We don't have the total wine or the specs here.
Yes, that's one reason we were excited down there as well. The selection is just phenomenal.
I wish we would have had more time just to kill, just to hang out, just to go whiskey shopping.
Right. Hang out at the pool. I really wanted to hang out and relax at the pool.
Yeah. Didn't happen.
Well, the only guys that can make that happen, I mean, it's you guys. There's nobody else going to make it happen. And I said, I kind of joked when I was out there, right, that unless I instigate some kind of event here in Scotland, it might take longer. But, you know, maybe that's the catalyst to start something, is that for me to come up with something. But we'd have to work out what it is, and it'd have to be something that could tempt you to come over, right?
We are so tempted. Honestly, a big part is if we went over there, I know I may be speaking for you, but I'd love to spend 2 weeks over there.
Well, I think 10 days is minimum.
Oh, minimum. And then part of that then becomes work and family and kids, and there's some of that that's going on, you know, still that we've got to factor in.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really difficult because at the end of the day, what we're doing here is a hobby, right? And our wives and our families are super supportive because I think they see how much joy we get out of it and how much joy we get out of sharing it as well. But at the end of the day, we can't use up all those days of holiday or vacation because it's taken away from the family. And I think that's always going to be the tricky thing, to find that balance. And you're absolutely right. If you're making the trip over here, you would get value out of doing a short trip, 4 or 5 days. Sure, you would. Like I did in Texas, I had great value out of that. But to do it fully, to do it properly, you're right. I think it takes a few more days. Having said that, if you were planning a repeat trip, you could do multiple short chapters rather than a novel at once, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is one thing. I mean, you know, tours, Isla, hang out with you, doing a whiskey gathering with friends from Scotland, the general UK, Europe. That's all definitely part of it. I don't know, in the back of my mind, you know, I'm really interested to see how October goes. Maybe get that down one more time, and then definitely be looking at, hey, can we make a 3rd or 4th, and I'm way ahead of myself here, but over in Scotland. And, you know, I mean, especially if we were able to, even the way things are going, and that synergy that you're able to develop with different distilleries, just like what we did with Tomatin tonight. I mean, I have kind of big dreams, but I'm just not sure where they're going to go. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm.
No, I think that if you guys were coming, you would have to determine whether you were going to do a Scotch Test Dummies tour or whether you were going to take a vacation and just soak it up. You would have to decide what it was going to be, I think, or perhaps try and manage a hybrid of both. But I think if you got in touch with distilleries in advance and you explained what you wanted to do, you gave them an itinerary and things, and you talked to them about what your intentions were and things, I think a lot of the distilleries, certainly the independent ones, the ones that were set up for that, would accommodate you with open arms. But there's a kind of really nice kind of serendipity thing that you let happen, where you just travel and find stuff, little adventures, and just let fate play a hand. And that's one of the most fantastic things about Isla, is when you go over there, you know, you couldn't get booked up for that tasting. It was sold out. Oh, well, we'll go and do something else. And you turn up on a distillery that's empty because everybody's at the other distillery, and you just have an absolute fabulous time. Little things like that can happen as well. Obviously, I would help you as well. I would help you, you know, whatever you needed from me. I mean, everything from, you know, a return favor of the Uber driver, planning, you know, the geography and the shape of it and things like that. And if we had enough planning in advance, and if fates allow, we might even be able to do it together. Who knows?
Oh, yes. Yep. Yeah, you do not want to see me driving on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
Scott's used to that over here.
Well, Scott did all the driving in Texas, right? So there's a favor to be returned there for sure.
He's a good driver.
Yeah.
I don't mind driving though. So,
you don't mind driving?
You'd be good on the wrong side of the road over there.
I don't know about that, but I'd take a little getting used to.
Do you drive stick?
Huh?
Oh, sure.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. Scott, I think what Rolf has pointed out, you know, that there's, I find this with Patreon as well. You've kind of got to put a notification out when you go live. People don't get it. Or they forget, or they don't know how to connect or get into it. If you put a post out on Patreon, just, I don't know if you want any more in actually, because this video will be on there, won't it, afterwards?
Well, it's already posted on Patreon.
Yeah, I know, but it's just kind of one of those posts. If you put a post out now and said, we're live now.
Oh.
Well, hold
people
on.
would be like, oh, yeah.
Okay. Let me get on there. Sure.
Well, you need if we had the link to repost though as well.
Yeah, the only guy I don't know in the chat, I can see Toon is in. Fantastic. Whiskey Wolf is in. The only guy I don't know is Brian.
Hello.
All right, we're going to play around. We haven't done a lot of live. Actually, this may be the first time we've done live to Patreon only, I think, isn't it?
No, we have a couple times.
Oh, that's true. That's true. We've done some.
Yeah,
they're always live to Patreon.
Yeah.
So, we're definitely wanting to do more. Again, nothing taken away from the regular show. That'll always be free, but some extra content just for the Patreon supporters. Because again, quite honestly, some of the bottles, the gas we had going down, even some of the meals, we were able to use our business card, which is directly handled by Patreon. So our Patreon account.
Yeah, I mean, I make. There's no doubt that I was able to afford my trip to Texas as well so much easier because of the support I get through the patrons as well. It's fantastic, and the reason that it's really, really cool is it means that you don't have to rely on a brand or a producer or a distillery for handouts or whatever. You don't. If they call up and say, yeah, we've got some samples for it, you just say, yeah, that's nice, but why don't you give the samples to somebody who does reviews? Or, you know, I can say that kind of thing because the patrons are covering that kind of stuff for us, right? The patrons are letting us buy the whiskey that we want to buy when we want to buy it.
Now, I will say on our end, we will talk. There's some things we can't get here, and we've had distillers or even small American craft distillers say, hey, we want to get you some of this. You can't even buy it in Kansas. Our main deal is when that happens, we definitely tell everybody, hey, this was sent to us by this distiller.
Absolutely. And you guys are reviewers. That's absolutely valid. You're reviewers. And it's up for people to apply their own rational intelligence. You know, people say, oh, no, you can't be impartial if you accept it free. Well, that's nonsense, because it's not like they're giving you free whiskey forever in full bottles. They're just giving you.
Exactly. And we've got bottle after bottle. I mean,
and what I've always said though too is if you don't trust our review of it, go look at what other reviewers are saying of it.
Right.
You'll find that ours is probably in line or on par with.
Right. Well, even on the Eleanor, I really love that 1860 gave it a score of 90. The 1892 was not bad or inferior, but those slight nutty, almondy, bitter flavors, I personally. Scott may enjoy it. You may enjoy it. I personally don't like that as much. It was an 85, and then it kind of grew to an 86 for me. That's not me saying it's terrible. It's just that my particular palate, I definitely lean toward that 90.
60. Two things struck me about that review that you did. And it was that gap between your 1860 and your 1862 that you were able to determine that much of a difference between the two. I don't have enough of a memory of the 1862, but I do remember there was a difference definitely. And the other thing is that out of I tried 3, but I don't remember if the other one I tried was the 56 or the 58, if I'm honest. But I remember the 60 because it's the one I bought, and the 62. And what I was struck by was, there's just no way that you would have me guessing that was a 3-year-old whiskey.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
No way. And I think that it benefits hugely from being at cask strength. The fact that they've put it out 57, 58 ABV just gives so much more engagement. And I know that people, when they first start getting into whiskey, they're suspicious of that statement, those comments that, oh no, the higher ABV, that must mean that you're just getting into stronger whiskies. But it's not. What it means is your palate opens up to accept stronger whiskies, and then you get to benefit from all the extra grip and texture and flavour that the higher ABV can reveal. And of course, being at a higher ABV, you can take it down, you can water it down yourself and play with it at home. Thought it was a really, really good whiskey, and I think you guys, and you, according to your review, generally agreed with me.
I agree. Now, Whiskey Wolf has asked, formerly Ebhead, what are your real jobs, or is it a secret? I guess Roy is something in the design field. Now, so for us,
we are in the witness protection program. So,
now, this isn't a public show.
Yeah, no, we've told our Patreon supporters in the past. We're both in law enforcement, Wichita Police Department. I started in 1993.
I started in 95.
1995. That's where we met. I was Bart's first partner.
True.
And
yep. And so 23 years I've been on.
It's gone downhill since then.
Well, so he says. But that's where we come from. But because we're still full-time employed with the police department, we don't put out what we do. We American-wise, we had to set up what we're doing here and what they call an LLC, a limited liability corporation, and then we don't blend the two. So that's why you don't hear us talking about our law enforcement careers, because our jobs could come in and say you can't push an alcoholic beverage because you're police. So we keep those two very separate. It's not a secret. It's just more of professionalism on both sides.
Yep.
That's right, and I think it's nice to be able to separate your private life from what you're putting out there to enjoy with the world, right? Brian's made a good point. He said, I think Daniel and Rex would prefer an honest review to just praise, though it's hard to be impartial after a great experience last weekend. I think you're absolutely right, Brian, and you make a good point, but I think that Daniel and Rex, nobody would be offended if we said, you know what, this is a decent bourbon, and just left it at that or something, you know. But I think everybody was kind of standing in the distillery, sipping it, looking at each other, going, "Shit, this is delicious," right?
Right.
And you know, it gets. Brian makes a good point, because when you want to evangelize about something like I've evangelized about the Lagavulin 12-year-old of last year and Deanston as a general theme, people start to get suspicious that maybe there's something going on, and that's a shame, because when you want to really be enthusiastic about something, you need people to trust that that's the case. And eventually what happens is people try it enough times, and then they align with you and they realize that, okay, you know, maybe I can trust what they're saying.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, recently for me, that Balvenie Peat Week, the 2003, it is so much different than that 02 vintage. And as we sing the praises on it, and then people go out and try it, I think that's when they go, yes, I might have passed on that, but I'm going to get it now because of what they're saying. And then when they taste it and go, oh my God, I love peat and I love this. And I think, I don't know. I mean, we just lay it out there. I mean, right, wrong, indifferent, goofy, giraffe hat at occasion. It just, I don't think we can help but be who we are.
I think that's clear for you guys. I think it's one of your biggest appeals. I don't want to say you don't care, but you understand my sentiment. If I did say that you don't care, it's kind of like you're just going to do what you want to do. And I think it takes investment in you guys to understand that that's the dynamic, and to understand, you know, when you love something, you know, you can't hide it. It just, the thrill of the enjoyment shows. And when you don't get along with something, you can't mask it either, right?
Right. Yep. And, you know, probably my biggest educational mental breakthrough that I've had is we've done enough whiskey over 5 years that there is tremendous whiskey. I don't know if we've had too many bad bottles, maybe one or two that we didn't enjoy, but most whiskey is phenomenal. What we are noticing in our 5-year most of it's solid. Most of it is solidly good.
There's not too much that's not good.
Right. And I mean, there's just people aren't pushing out trash at all. What we then get is something that then bursts to the forefront and says, holy moly, I didn't expect this. This is hitting my palate, and it's always our individual palates. That's why I think we bring the gift of two very different palates at the same time. And that's been my biggest educational mark, is there is quality whiskey being put out there. And I think the power of our show, or what I've learned, is when I get one that just stands head and shoulders above and I go, wow.
Go back just a little bit. You'd hit on somebody's comment, Brian's comment about Daniel and Rex wanting an honest review. We actually, we got an email from Daniel earlier today.
Oh, really?
Hey, said thanks for the good review of their product, but he wanted to know if we minded. Bart goes into a little deal during the video where he talks about Texas being its own region, basically having its own profile. And they wanted to know if we minded if we used a clip from that to show a Texas Distillers Association kind of their argument to say, hey, we are kind of our own region and we want to form that for Texas whiskeys.
No, I think that'd be great. Yeah. I mean, it was the first time I thought of the states. The United States is definitely having, you know, I'm very used to Scotland having the Highlands, the Islay, the Lowlands, Campbellton, the other different islands. But when I tasted Texas whiskey, I definitely got what in my mind was immediately like, this is a Texas region. I mean, I felt like it was distinct and of its own.
Right. And I think that I don't know what that flavor is, because I know that it was talked about. But when I was there and when I was tasting the whiskies in that hall and whiskies over that weekend on the Friday night when we had the patio reception there at the restaurant, there was a theme amongst a lot of whiskies that we tried. And there was a few of them that I connected by this kind of odd, dusty note that by the end of the weekend, that felt like I was really quite enjoying. I kind of connected with that, maybe in the same way you would connect with smoke on Islay or sweet fruits in the Highlands or spices in Speyside, I don't know. And Brian as well in the comments talked about how he had tried, he said it's hard not to remember, it's hard to not remember the taste of it in the Rick House and how great it was. Well, that's right, Brian, because the best whiskey you'll ever taste in your life is to taste a whiskey straight from the cask in a warehouse. It is absolutely the best. And it's that thing that struck me about the Texas trip was tasting the Texas whiskey in its own environment. It made sense to me. The climate.
I agree with you. It was that dusty sagebrush oak, and then the magic that they can't leave it in the barrel for more than 3 years, or it just gets overly oaked. And I know we had some stuff that maybe is a non-disclosure kind of thing, so I don't want to go too far, but there's some experiments that they're getting ready, or that maybe they're already trying in Texas with how do you play around with a climate that is so powerful that a virgin oak cask can't stay with whiskey for more than 3 years. So I think there's a nice little play space they have there. And with that heat, and with that 3-year max limit, you're talking about, instead of having to try something new and wait 12 years to see what the outcome is, you can overturn it in 3 or 2 or a year and a half. And I think there's going to be some very interesting innovations going on in Texas.
Absolutely. And I think, they were joking about certain things being like the Wild West again and things, because they're not tied down by legislation as much as we are in Scotland and things. So they've got a really cool opportunity to get together and work out how to define what makes a Texas whiskey by playing to the advantages they have there with the climate and things. Rolf was asking us if the Crowded Barrel are going to distill their own whiskey or source. That's the whole idea of Crowded Barrel, Rolf, is that they are the first crowdsourced distillery. So the Patreons are actively choosing what the mash bills are going to be. If they buy independent casks to bottle, the patrons choose what the casks that they buy are going to be. They're getting to choose yeast strains, barley species, I mean, they're getting involved at every step of the way so that it can be a crown.
Types of wood.
Produce. Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think it was the week before we went down there. They had they were sourcing 2 barrels from Scotland, and they had a list. And well, it was either none of these, and then I can't remember the second one, but the Royal Brockla 13-year-old was the one that won. And I love Royal Brockla, and so they're sourcing things over from Scotland as well.
Yeah, that's right. And the Royal Brockla, and the other one was Taninic.
There you go.
And I've got a soft spot for Taninic. I like it. But Daniel, I think, has tried both casks, and he was hoping that people would choose in this instance the Royal Brockla, and I think that's clearly the one that they're going to pick. So yeah, they're sourcing casks as well, which is kind of cool actually, because the States, you guys don't get a lot. I know the single cask nation is happening, and it's starting to get a bit of traction, and people are starting to understand the concept of an independent bottler. But it's something that we've always had in Scotland as a byproduct of the cask trading thing that we have here. So independent versions of distilled product has always been available to us. But I know that in the States and in Asia and so many other territories, it's all about the brand, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that was probably my biggest takeaway. Other than, well, no, my biggest takeaway was definitely the whiskey fabric, the whiskey people coming together, the way they had fun, the way they were wanted to be educated even by these different smaller Texas distilleries, the YouTubers coming together. That community sense was was number one. And secondary for me was saying that literally that awakening in my mind of, wow, Texas definitely feels like a region, like it has its own uniqueness as far as whiskey goes.
What was the best dram you tried when you were down there, Scott?
I'm the Iron Root. It was one of the cast strength versions.
We had that at the
there's
at
2
the restaurant.
different ones.
Right, the one at the restaurant, they said you can't even buy anymore. Oh, what do you got there?
Is BTAC?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's absolutely bone dry.
That BTAC is delicious.
No, this is not fair that this exists, right? Because people can't get this.
Yeah.
And at the very end of the video, when I'm recording myself on camera, I'm very self-conscious about reviewing whiskey because I'm not at the stage that you guys are at yet where I'm really relaxed about it. So you feel like your reaction is going to be forced or kind of pretend or something. But the camera was running, and I decided just to sip it because I knew that it was the last of that whiskey that was left. And I hadn't had anything before it like we did the other night. It was just cold. I was getting into it cold, and it moved me. It really, really did. And it's the complexity that's in it. It's the fruit and the spice, and the oak is there. The bourbon notes are there, but it's not bourbon as we know it. It's an amazing thing. Like I say, it's not fair that we can't buy that. It's just not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
But therein lies the magic. I mean, it's temporary in nature, here and gone. And
I'm privileged to share that with you guys, and it was a privilege to bring some home as well. And I'm just going to keep this really tightly sealed so I can open the bottle and give it a sniff now and again. Yeah.
Now I still have some of the 2016 and the 2017, but that 2015 one was better than both.
Yeah. Well, the last of the 2015 was savoured judiciously in Scotland. What is that one?
That is the 2016.
Still good, not quite as good.
This one is 72.05%, a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it's still tasty, but not quite as tasty. Now, didn't they go outrageous with the 2017 though?
The last year's, the 2017, yeah, they had like 40,000 bottles available compared to when they usually only have like 8,000 or 9,000.
Okay. Maybe I forgot that.
That's the 64% one, which is good, but that 2015 is still my favorite.
Yeah, we got lucky because that was the first time you tried their special bottling, and it was a home run.
Uh-huh. And Claire has some of those bottles.
Oh, some. He has more than one?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Claire the third.
Claire the third.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know where he lives?
He keeps it secret. He's got a bunker somewhere, a whiskey bunker.
Well, hey, let's wrap this one up. This one we wanted to. My main goal is just say, hey, thank you to the Patreons. You really helped make Austin doable, happen. The same with Kansas City coming up. Future trips, when we do look at going to Scotland or a Kentucky Bourbon Trail trip,
we've got some feelers out there for that.
Our Patreon funds that's what's going to make it happen.
Yes, 100%.
So,
100%. Because I'll be honest with you, my wife will ask, like, "Hey, how are you buying all these bottles?" I tell her, well, actually, Patreon funds are buying the more expensive bottles. I mean, they just are.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Oh, wow," And then we have had fans send us bottles, or distilleries send us bottles as well. And but that it's been a huge help for us. I mean, we realized quickly how helpful Patreon support is.
Yeah. And we also we had talked about how to recognize people that do send us bottles better.
That's a good point. When we were down there, Daniel and Rex do some different recognition things for folks that gift them bottles or the show bottles. And we realized, we do a name shout out, although we've had some people say they didn't even want to be mentioned. So we're working on the development of a unique coin just for those bottle donators. And we're going to get those coins out to those people that have done this already, because we're kind of like, wow, we missed an opportunity to thank those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. Yeah.
Yep. And
people are genuinely excited to share bottles with you. It gives me the issue, do I set up a PO box or something like that? And right now I'm only giving my address out to people that I've gotten to know through Patreon or other channels or something, people that I feel a bit more comfortable with, because I'm getting to the stage now that it's becoming uncomfortable to share too much. And I think it's just appropriate, right, to try and work out ways to manage these things and try and keep your private life separate from your digital life, I think.
Right. Yep.
Especially if you've got families and jobs and all of that kind of thing. But that's a great idea. Your coins, the coins, I should have listened to you. I should have taken your advice, Scott. I know, I keep saying it. But you've seen how little of these coins I've got left, right? This is what's left of the box.
Wow.
It's destroyed, which is wonderful. It's really wonderful. And I know that there's email in tonight asking for more. So yeah, another trip over. I'm going to be a coin mule.
There you go. The coins are neat. I'm telling you, I've got one of your coins on a glass right here. They're just they're so neat and collectible, and you can just throw it in your pocket. And that's really one of the neat things about it.
The thing is, I think they're so successful because they're cheaper. $10. Yes, it's a small way for people to help support.
Yep.
And I think, okay, well, it's $10. I'll get a coin. It helps support the channel so much.
And it's actually functional.
And it's very functional.
Yeah.
It's portable, like you said. People are carrying them with them. And I think people are going to like having our coin. They're going to like having your coin. Bill is in here, the whiskey dick.
Well, what did you?
He's working on his.
Was it Sarah?
Is Bill in here tonight?
Yeah, he was a little bit ago.
Yes. Oh, that's right. It was Emma. We're in the vault, and we've given Emma, like, I think
the day before,
our
Thursday,
coins and maybe your coin the day before. And he does what's an old army thing, which is where this whole thing comes from. Is when you're at a bar, you challenge somebody, say, hey, you got to show your coins. And if you got a better coin than us, or the coin that you were gifted, basically in a bar, you get a drink. And he tells Emma, let's see your coins. And she reaches in her.
Yeah.
She reaches in her pocket, boom, breaks them out, and he's like, "Whoa!" And she's like,
"That's the challenge right there."
And she goes, "These are cool. Of course, I've got it in my pocket."
When we were at the distillery on Thursday, she was just such a good sport.
Oh, she was pouring our drams. She labeled our bottles.
She was letting us video her and take pictures, and so I had a coin on me. I was like,
and you just gifted it.
Yeah, here's a coin for you, Emma.
Yep.
And I think it was $4.74. So the next night when we're in the vault and we're drinking, Emma was there, and I go, "You got your coin with you?" She goes, "I do." She reaches in her pocket,
breaks it out.
Which is the challenge.
That is.
There. So technically, I owe her a drink.
Right.
That's how that goes.
Yeah, the way now
when
she ended up
when you challenge someone and they're able to produce a coin,
then boom, you actually owe them a dram.
And now, had she not been able to produce it, she would owe me a drink.
Yes. Now she ended up pouring us one anyway.
Yeah.
But she was awesome, and I think it was kind of indicative of that open whiskey spirit that was going on with the tribe and with Daniel, Rex, Emma, and everybody else that were there.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And she was really cool and really laid back and welcoming and things. And as I said in my video today, she's perfect to have in that role. You know, if you're welcomed by somebody like that. And it turns out when you talk to her, when we were speaking to her the next night in the vault, she knows a shit ton about whiskey as well.
She does. Yep. Daniel actually told me they had maybe a guy with a little bit of snobbery that came in and was like talking down to her. And then she started breaking out some of the things and some whiskeys. And I guess he was like, "Whoa." And because, she knew what she was talking about.
Well, hey, and a quick shout out. I think it's Brad LeClaire that's tuning in. That's Brad's whiskey journey. He was he's the one that organized the semi-secret tasting down
Brad, the demigod,
which was huge.
That was awesome. The Red Door.
Yeah, the Red Door.
Yeah,
hey, that's right. Good to see you in, buddy. And I can see Mark, Whiskey Whistle Mark's in as well. Superb.
Yep. Tune, Dwayne is here, Whiskey Wolf, Santa Cruising.
Brad's from Canada.
Brian.
Brad's from Canada.
Yeah.
So, Brad, that was great. What a wonderful, wonderful like pre-event that was.
Mm-hmm. Can I get Brad? Can you lock the camera on me?
Okay, we'll lock it on you now.
Brad, I need you to challenge me. Ask me, am I carrying the coin? Go on. And I just reach in my pocket, and there you go.
There it is.
Buddy.
Look at that.
The beer goal coin.
Very nice.
And this is a metal coin, obviously, so it's quite a different. I think these metal coins you'd have to be careful around the top of a glass, right?
A
Yeah.
little bit.
Chip it.
A little bit.
Very cool.
We didn't know, we had looked at
we've looked at maybe because most of the military challenge coins are metal.
And you can get different colors and stuff within there but they're quite a bit more than the ceramic.
They're more expensive. They also a lot of times have such great detail. They do not sit flush. Whereas these poker chip coins will sit flush and have a lot of color. Some of the military coins I've had, because of their edges and ridges, they wouldn't actually seal in the flavor or the nose as well. And then some people, I guess, have complained that the Daniel and Rex had a metal coin, but they were saying they were getting like a metallic taste transfer. I don't know about that, but so
yeah. And I think they updated the design of their the tribe's metal coin. They updated it so that it would sit more snugly on the top of a Glencairn as well.
Got it. Wonderful.
Well, hey, thanks to everybody that tuned in. This will be up on Patreon, just for our Patreon-only people. Again, a big thank you to all of you guys. You've made Austin possible. You're going to make Kansas City possible. I think in the future, you're making more stuff possible.
Oh, and I tell you, I mean, you'll probably hear me talking about this for the next month. I think what whiskey is doing and is about to do, we as a group of whiskey enthusiasts are way out on the forefront of this. I think whiskey is going to get bigger and bigger and much more popular, and we are the tip of the spear.
Tip of the spear, baby. Thanks, Roy, for coming in. Short notice, but was glad to meet you in Austin.
No, I've been sitting here all dressed and ready. I've been hoping all day that you would invite me in tonight. No, listen, I would have had a blast in Texas anyway. It would have been great fun. but it was enhanced immeasurably by getting to hang out with you guys. It was, my wife is sick of me talking about it and relaying stories and little comments and things. It's been brilliant. I'm still on a high from it, even though it's a week later. An absolute pleasure, and a pleasure to join you again tonight.
Our pleasure.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you. So close it out.
Yeah. Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
Oh wait, we should let Roy do it.
Oh,
Remember
wait,
at the end?
yeah,
Did you see
Roy.
the end of the video?
Go ahead, Roy.
Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
Cilantro, dummies.
Dummies.
Perfect.